Our guys, Fernandes, Lembo on the grid. You may remember us last week. We had a little technical issues apparently on Facebook Live. You were hearing every fourth word. Yeah. Which, with you, in your case, that's pretty good. But with me,
zing.
Anyway, so we had 2,400 views last week on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Tremendous amount.
Right.
Now we're sort of backpedaling for that, and this will be available in the usual venues coming up.
Well,
right?
Yeah. If you're watching it, you found us.
Right,
So
you found us.
Yeah.
So not only do we have technical glitches, Mother Nature provided some technical glitches.
Welcome
14
to
games.
football season.
Only 4 of them were played without interruption.
Right.
You were at one game where there was no interruption.
Right.
Talk about that, the bus trip and everything.
Yeah, last Thursday, went with Braden River to Water Sports in Orlando. Right. They played Chatfield High out of Colorado.
Good
And yeah, it was a great game, great weather. I mean, the weather was really nice.
Right.
You know, it was breezy. It was unseasonably cool. Fun game, a lot of offense. Pirates won by 17 points. Good start for Braden River. The defense a little ragged. Coach Bradley wasn't happy about that.
Right.
He's our DC as well as our head coach. But yeah, a good start to the season for Braden River, and I got lucky. I was one of the few games last week where we stayed dry the entire time.
And you were one of the games. I'm just looking at all the games that were played. Believe it or not, 17-point spread. That was one of the closest games we saw. 28-20. I was at the game. I was at Booker Riverview, where the game was stopped after the first quarter with Riverview up 35-0.
Right.
I mean, they scored on 5 straight possessions. Lightning. The game was stopped.
Yep.
But other games, 36-0. Sarasota won. But you see that not only in high school but in college. Early on, you really don't know what to expect.
Well,
from some of these
and
things.
I think this year was going to be a little different because of the new playoff system. You know, I think the Manatee Lakeland game would have been closer than that had they played that. We kind of knew the Venice game would go that way. They've handled that team from Georgia before. I was at Manatee Lakeland. I was there for about 3 hours, saw 5.5 minutes of football. And they decided they couldn't get that game in. So, yeah, it was a tough week one. Southeast Palmetto tried on Saturday. They couldn't get that game played. So, yeah, not the way you want to start the season, but hopefully week 2 will be a little better.
You know, I was out there talking. You really get an insight when you go out and talk to the coaches at practice. And I was talking to Dumika Adkins, the Booker coach, yesterday. And, you know, they looked at their spring game against Palmetto as like a few mistakes here, and we may have won that game.
Right.
Then they go against Riverview, and it just nothing went right. And I talked to the coach, and I says, how's your players' mental state right now? And it's like they haven't forgotten about that. And that's tough to get your team looking forward to the game when you've come off a game against a county city rival that just really destroyed you.
Yeah, especially if you thought you made some progress in the spring and the classic and stuff. But yeah, but hey, that's the job of the coaches and the kids to kind of pick yourself up, and time moves on. You got to get rid of the play, and the old saying, you can't let one loss beat you twice. So, Booker has to kind of get over that and get over it fast because Friday night they count again. You
know, not only Booker, but we've seen it a lot of coaches that players have transferred, and I say, Doom, what's the situation here? He said players are not going to stay at schools where there's no quarterback. Once Brantley left to go to Riverview, they had some other guys just say, I'm not staying here, I'm going to Riverview. That's loyalty. We talked about it before. Loyalty is pretty much dead in sports.
I don't know about that. It's just a ripple effect too, and I'm curious how much the parents have a say in where these kids go, but I also harken back to what one coach told me, that we don't want any kids here, don't want to be here.
Right.
So I mean, what's worse, having a kid leave or having a kid that you're coaching who wants no part of you or the school or the team? So obviously, I'm sure numbers-wise it doesn't help, but to me, if a kid doesn't want to be somewhere, it's like almost no point even having him there because he's just take some space.
And if you do have kids leave, the kids that stay, the coach really develops an affection for these kids because they're the ones staying around to go to battle
and the
with.
Bonding, kind of brings them together. But obviously, it's a numbers game though, and more kids leave. It's not like they're the minor leagues where you just pull guys up from the practice squad or AAA or something like that. You have those holes maybe for the whole season.
Looking forward to this week. We have several big games. Obviously, the biggest that Matt's going to be at Riverview at Venice, but you're going to be at a pretty good one yourself.
I am.
Manatee at Palmetto, kind of interesting there. And
I'm glad you guys, real quick, Palmetto's having a canned food drive that night for all the victims of the Houston floods.
Great.
So if you're going to that game at Harley Stadium, bring a canned food good. If I said that right, bring canned food to the game for the drive. Yeah, that should be a good one. I mean, Palmetto really, every year they really want to beat Manatee. Manatee almost handed them the game the last 2 years and found a way to win. So we'll see what happens on Friday. Neither team played last week, so they both come in really fresh. So I'm curious how it's going to be. It's funny. I saw on Twitter they're having a black T-shirts at Palmetto.
Right.
And the flyer around school says Palmetto versus that school. They're not even like writing Manatee. So that stuff's kind of cool. It's good, the rivalry, and we'll see what happens. Manatee hasn't lost to a county rival in 11 years. So.
You know, Riverview at Venice. Venice is coming off a big win, 35-3 over Camden County. And we already talked about how Riverview looked.
Yeah.
Just break down this game. You know, nothing against Riverview or anything. I don't know if Riverview is quite ready to take on a challenge like this.
Well, I think they're ready. I just think Venice right now is the best team in the area.
When I say ready, I'm talking about, you know, maybe coming up with that upset.
Right. I think it'll be
victory.
Competitive. Obviously, Coach Peacock and Coach Smithers are good friends.
Yeah, so the trash talking.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be fun. I'm heading out to Riverview today because of Arthur Brantley.
Right.
That'll be in Thursday's HG Preps and Friday's paper. Kind of previewing that game, so I'll talk to him about that. But yeah, I think right now Venice, if they play anyone in the county, I'd pick the area. I'd pick Venice. I think Venice is the best team in the area right now, and that includes Riverview. But I think Riverview give them a game. I think Riverview's a good team.
Give me I mean, no pre-rehearsed questions here, but give me a score of that game.
Whoa, on the spot. I'm going to go 35-21 Venice. With no like math or like
I'm looking at that kind of that score too. I think offense sort of takes the fore in this game, at least early on in the season.
Yeah, Venice has so many weapons. So
my game, Southeast of Sarasota. Talk about Sarasota going forward. They look decent against Celebration. Actually, Brian Battie, their quarterback, completed a couple of passes. Southeast, that's one of your schools, Manatee County. What do you think of them going forward this season?
I like their defense. I like their quarterback, Alex Taylor. I think they're going to have a good year this year. I think they're going to win their district. I like them in that game. I do. I mean, again, they didn't play last week. Sarasota did. So maybe Sarasota's a little sharper, if not fresher. But I think Southeast is a good football team. They're going to surprise some people this year. I like the job Rashad West is doing out there.
You know what we're going to start doing? And we're going to start doing this next year. Remember how we did last year? Last season. We're going to do it next week. I hope I'm here next year. How we picked winners every week.
Our lock of the week.
Lock of the week. Yeah. We're going to start doing that next week. In fact, let's start
let's do it right now.
Okay.
Right now.
Give me your lock of the week. Well, you just said it maybe. You think Venice, right? You taking Venice?
Yeah, I go Venice. Yeah, but I can't use them again. I'm going to use them now. I use Venice.
Right. Okay, since we were just talking about Palmetto, Manatee, even though the game's at Palmetto, I'm taking Manatee in this.
Wow, that's a lock of the week.
Maybe Coach Marino won't talk to me the rest of the rest of the season.
That happened once already.
That happened once already. You know, one thing about Palmetto, you talk about reloading and just keeping the train moving.
Yeah.
Marino does a great job of that at Palmetto. Sometimes in the shadows of some of the other bigger schools in the area, right?
Yeah, they've done a nice job. Back-to-back 6-win seasons, no playoff berth, so they're in that tough district. So they're hoping that this new format suits them, and they're playing some tough teams. They're playing, you know, the Charlottes of the world, and they're playing Manatee, and so they're getting some bonus points for that. But yeah, that's a surprising lock of the week. That to me is a toss-up game. So that's a pretty bold prediction.
I'm sort of going out on that unsteady limb right off the bat. I'm not waiting until week 8 to
I like it. I like the gall
to step out there. I liked your one last thing. I liked your bus story. You have a story coming about Brantley tomorrow. I have a story looking at former Sarasota sailor Cedric Saunders, who was with the Lions for 12 years, really top of their organizational chart. Now he's on the other end. Now he's working for an agency representing players and coaches. So you want to look for that story.
Nice.
And your story coming out too.
And also on Tuesday, we do the non-football stuff. I'm going to have a story on Alan Moreno, the runner at Military Academy, cross-country runner, for the first time in his tenure that they have an actual team this year.
Right.
He used to be 1 or 2 guys. Now it's a full 7-member team. Talk to him about that. So look for that story Tuesday.
So we got a lot of stuff looking forward to, and hopefully we're looking forward to a Friday night where all the games are played.
Yes. No lightning. We'll take rain. No lightning.
No lightning, because that really stops things for like half an hour.
It sure does.
So we'll have all that talk about next week. So for Lembo Fernandes, we'll see you next week on The Grid.